Hello friends! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy and today we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read in 2023. Okay, so I've got all of the books pulled off of my shelf here, and I did read some on Kindle and some audiobooks, so I'll talk about those as well. But first, some stats. So in 2023, I read 62 books, but 7 of those were graphic novels, so I'm not really counting them. I'll talk about them at the end, but so without those 7, I read 55 books. Okay, so my stats are a little bit skewed because of those graphic novels, but I read about 24,000 pages. Average length was 390 pages. Average days to finish was 7.2, and my average rating was a 3.79. I think towards the beginning of the year, I was a lot more generous with my ratings because I was still pretty new to reading and I was just having like a lot of fun reading. So I was like, oh my gosh, 4 stars, 5 stars. But then like as the year goes on, then I get a little bit more picky with my ratings. Also, I want to talk about my sweatshirt. It says The High Lord presents Music Under the Mountain. If you know, you know. If you don't know, then read ACOTAR. So starting with January, the first book that I read was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is one of my all-time favorites. I read this 3 times this year and it is just such a good story. I love Emily Henry. Book Lovers, beach read, happy place, so good. So good. This is one of my 5-star reads. Next, I read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and I got this from a book exchange that my boyfriend's family did, and I enjoyed it. It was a little bit sad, a little bit depressing. Basically, this girl who is like on the verge of death gets transported to this like magic library where every single book is like a possibility of her life if she had made a different decision. I think I gave this like a 3-star or 3.5 star. And then I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. It follows Achilles as a young boy and his friend Patroclus, and you know, like how they grow up together, like training and stuff, and then they go off to the war. I gave it 4.5 stars. Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This is a YA romance. It is set in Italy, but yeah, this one was really cute if you're looking for an easy YA read. Also in January, I read Beartown by Frederick Bachman. It's also, I think it's a trilogy. This is the first one. It follows this hockey team in this small town. A very heartwarming and wholesome story. I ended up really enjoying it, and I will probably keep reading the series in 2024. Next, I read Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. I actually listened to the audiobook of this on Audible. Really loved it, and I didn't have a physical copy, so I just had to grab it. So this is a really good book. I would suggest everybody pick this up. Next, I actually forgot that I read this and I just had to go get it off my shelf, but I read Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, and this book was not the greatest. I don't know, it just felt kind of all over the place. This book just really fell flat for me. Next, I read The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keigo Higashino. He is one of my favorite authors. I still didn't really understand the whole like time warping thing behind it, but it was a really wholesome story. This story was really good. Next, I read Verity by Colleen Hoover. People call it a thriller. I don't think it is. I think it's just literary fiction with like thrilling elements. I don't know, it was kind of blah for me. I think I gave it like a 2.5 star. I don't know if I've mentioned before that my mom and I have a book club. For one of our book club books, we read The Fortunes of Jaded Women by Carolyn Huynh. This book was so funny. I love this book. The story was just so funny. Like the sisters and the daughters like interactions, they're just hilarious. And then I read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This was such a cute, wholesome story, and it's told in like 2 different timelines. So there's like then when they're kids, and then there's now when I think they're in college. It's really cute to read about their friendship and then how it kind of like evolves into something more. Next I read One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, another one of my favorite authors. This book is really sad. You know, it's just kind of like how she deals with grief, and then how she's like putting her life back together, and then her life is like totally broken apart again, and it was really good. And then totally different vein, I read Electric Idol by Katie Robert. This is in the Neon Gods series, which is like spicy retelling of Greek mythology. Or no, sorry, it's not a retelling, but it's like inspired by Greek mythology characters, I guess. So this one is Psyche and Eros. I honestly don't remember anything about this book. And then I read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. This is the second one of the X-Hex trilogy. This one is a cozy, witchy romance, like rom-com book. Next, I read Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan, and this is a fantasy. Okay, I don't know if it's actually based on like Chinese mythology. It is such a good story. There is a second one that's out right now that I have not read, but I'm waiting for it to come out on paperback so I can match this one on my shelf, because if there's one thing that I'm not gonna do is have one paperback and one hardback in a series together. Okay, I'm not doing that. So I'm waiting for the paperback to come out of the second one. But this one was really good. I really like this. I read my favorite book of all time thus far. ACOMAF! Ah! I cannot tell you how many times I have read this book. It is just so good. A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J Maas is the second one in the A Court of Thorns and Roses, or ACOTAR series. And this is what my sweatshirt is based off of. This is truly just one of my comfort books. If I am in a reading slump, I will read this book, and it just brings me back to life. It's fantasy romance, fairies, fae, love, war, friendship. The found family in this book is so good. I could go on and on. Read this book. I started off really strong in January, and then we just kind of went downhill from there. So in February, for whatever reason, I reread Book Lovers. I don't need to talk about it again. Love it. And then in March, I read ACOMAF again. I read it again. I also read the third book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then the novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight. This book, I know a lot of people don't like it because it's very like war and politics heavy, but it was so good. I think besides ACOMAF, ACOWAR is my favorite. These two are just chef's kisses. I love them so much. Frost and Starlight is just a novella that happens after ACOWAR, and it's just kind of like setting up the scene for the fifth book. So this one was okay. In April, I didn't read anything. In May, I just read one book, which was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, and I don't remember anything about this book, honestly. Anyways, moving on. In June and July, I didn't read anything. August, I read 2 books. Another book that my mom and I read for our book club was Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This book is super cute. It is a literary fiction. It follows this elderly woman's like friendship with this octopus at this aquarium that she works at. This book is good. In August, I read a Christmas rom-com. Don't ask me why, but I read 8 Perfect Hours by Leah Lewis. It's just a cheesy Christmas rom-com. You know, it was cute. It was a fun read. Our September book club read was the only book that I read in September. It was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This is a thriller mystery novel, and I guessed the plot twist maybe like halfway in. It was weird. Like, this book was weird. So October is where my reading started to pick up again, because I realized that I was so far off from my reading goal for the year that I had to like really crack down on my reading. So the first book that I read in October was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Again, weird. This book was weird. I didn't love it, okay? I didn't guess the plot twist. There's actually two. There's two plot twists in here. The first one, I was like, oh, okay, that was weird. The second one was like, huh? I read a summer book in October. I mean, okay, you can read them whenever you want to, but just like for the vibes and the atmosphere, it just was a little bit off. So I read The Summer Girl by Elle Kennedy, friends to lovers kind of novel. Summer vibes. It wasn't the best. I think I gave it maybe like a 3-star. Next, I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is what I was getting the kiss quotient mixed up with. It's very cute how their relationship grows. Like, she's kind of awkward, he's kind of awkward. Like, it's really cute. Actually fitting for the month that I read it in is The Ex-Hex. So this is the first one of the trilogy. I read The Kiss Curse in like February? Did I read it in February or January? Witchy rom-com set in like the Stars Hollow town during Halloween. It's a really fast read. I think I finished it in like one sitting. Maybe it's a little bit less than 300 pages, so it's really good. I think the third one should be coming out in 2024, so I'm definitely gonna pick that up. Next, I read Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is in the same universe as Icebreaker, which I actually haven't read, but they're all like interconnected standalones. I don't know if I'm gonna read Icebreaker, or I know there's a third one coming out of this too. I don't think I liked it enough to keep going in the same universe, but it was good for what it was. The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther is one of my new favorite books, okay? I did not expect to love this as much as I did. It was so good. It's set in Martha's Vineyard. This is a YA romance, friends to lovers. The summer vibes are all there. The last book that I read in October was Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This was the second time that I read this book, and I read this because I had bought the second one in the trilogy and I wanted to reread this one to like refresh my memory of what happens. Small town, grumpy sunshine. This book was cute. I liked it. So moving on to November, I don't have the book with me because I loaned it out to a friend, but I read Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I really loved it. Throne of Glass is a really long series. I think there's like 8 books. So the book just follows Selena and like the friendships that she makes and like competing to be the king's assassin, and it's really good. There's subplots of romance, like very, very small, but I think it's going to pick up as the books go on. I'm finally getting into the last pile. So the next book that I read was The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I didn't know what to expect with this book. It is a rom-com. She falls in love with a ghost, and it's fine. It's not weird. It was really cute though. I think like October, November, like fall vibes. You know, this is like a mood read. It was cute. I liked it. I don't know if I would read it again, but for what it is, like, I enjoyed it. Next, I read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alir Sainz. Lovers. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. This is a literary fiction. I think it's YA. It's friends to lovers. It's just really cute. It's very wholesome, but this was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I actually bought the second one. My dad got me a Kindle for Christmas. During the Black Friday sale, he got me a Kindle Paperwhite. I was like an absolute reading machine on my Kindle. So I got Kindle Unlimited, and at first I thought it was just gonna be a lot of like self-published books or like those mass market like romance novels, but there were actually a lot of really good books. So the first one that I read on Kindle Unlimited was Red, White, and Royal Blue. I know I'm like so behind on the bandwagon. Like, it's a Netflix show, I think, or an Amazon Prime show. It's like rivals to friends to lovers. It's really cute. I enjoyed it. Also on Kindle Unlimited, but I enjoyed it so much that I had to pick up the physical copy by a thread by Lucy Score. This is my favorite Lucy Score book. There's so many different tropes. Grumpy Sunshine, forced proximity, the emails. Okay, so next I read Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series, and honestly, I don't really remember what happened in this book. Like, I feel like a lot of things happened, but also nothing really happened. But I will keep going with the series because I've heard that it gets really, really good. But I think it's just setting up the scene and like the plot for the next books to come. So then I read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas, which is the third book in the Throne of Glass series. Sort of, it's like a prequel to the first book, so a lot of people say that you should read this before Throne of Glass, and then other people say that you should read this as the third book. It's just like a series of novellas, so I really like this one actually. I rated this higher than Crown of Midnight, but it was really good. I enjoyed it. So I actually read Things We Hide from the Light on my Kindle. I also read the third one, which was Things We Left Behind, both of them by Lucy Score, and these two were some of my most anticipated reads of 2023, and I was so disappointed. Like, I did not like this book. I did not like the third book. I just wasn't rooting for them as a couple. There were just a lot of issues that I couldn't really look past. I just didn't like it. And same with the third one. It's Lucian and Sloane's story, which throughout the whole first book and this one, that was like something that I was really looking forward to reading about. I don't think I'll be buying a physical copy of the third one just because I just really didn't like it. Finally, moving into my December books that I read two more Kindle Unlimited books. They're like holiday rom-com books. The first one is called Holiday Romance, and then the second one is Snowed In. They are both interconnected standalones set in like the same town in Ireland. They were cute, they were okay, they were on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, oh, I'll read it for like the Christmassy vibes. And then another one that was on Kindle Unlimited is Lauren Asher's newest book, Love Redesigned, and I haven't read any of Lauren Asher's book. Oh, this is a new series, Dreamland Billionaires series. This is the first book. But yeah, this one was okay. It wasn't my favorite. For me, it was okay. Next, I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This one is like a cozy fantasy. It's low stakes. There's no war going on. There's no like politics or anything. It's written in like journal entries that she is writing in her research journal. So this one was really cute. I think I will pick up the next books. I don't know if they're already out or not, but this one was really cute. I liked it. So I haven't read many series this year. I think the only one that I read was ACOTAR, and this next one is like my favorite reads of the year. Once Upon a Broken Heart. This trilogy, I read the whole thing in one weekend. Five-star series. It's so good. It's like fairy tale vibes. This book is just so good. It's set in the same universe as the Caraval series, but I read this without reading that first and I still really, really loved it. It wasn't really that hard to like pick up on, so if you want to read this and you don't want to read the Caraval trilogy first, do it. Do it. It is so good. So good. I finished this and then I immediately bought the second one, The Ballad of Never After, and honestly, I don't remember what happened in that book.
Okay, as I'm editing this, I do remember what the second book was about. I think I just read the second one and third one so quickly back to back that my brain had like combined them into one book. But the second one is about the archer and the fox. But I don't want to give any major spoilers, but I do remember what it was about and I did love it. Just wanted to put that in there.
And I got to the third one. The third one I loved. The third one was 5 stars. A Curse for True Love, so good. But the trilogy as a whole was so good. Like, it's one of my top series of all time. The next 2 books are kind of random. They were also on Kindle Unlimited. I used to love this series when I was in high school, so I wanted to revisit it and see if like I still have that same love for it. And it kind of fell flat. So it is the House of Night series. I read the first and second one in December, which is Marked and Betrayed. It's by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. It's like a vampire school kind of series. I got to the second one. I think I'm just gonna stop there. I listened to Happy Place on audiobook because if you have a Spotify premium membership, they have a lot of free audiobooks on there and they're actually really good ones. So I listened to Happy Place. Right now I'm listening to the Inheritance Games, but I loved Happy Place. It was so good. For me, her books are more like literary fiction with subplots of romance. Happy Place felt so real, like the characters and what they're going through, like the issues in their relationships and the struggles that they have in their friendships as they grow up, like get out of college and then they're like working professionals. It was just all so real. So next I read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. So it's like a friends to lovers romance. And I think this is YA also. I don't remember it being spicy. I don't know if I would read it again, but it was enjoyable. So the next 2 books that I read were both Lynn Painter novels. And Lynn Painter is like a YA romance writer, so there's no spice. The characters are in high school, I think, in both of these. So the do-over is like Groundhog's Day, Valentine's Day. This one was fun. It was cute. Better than the movies, like a fake dating kind of thing. And I think you can probably guess where it goes from there. But it's very cute. They're both YA. There's no spice in them, but they're very wholesome, very cute. The last book that I read in 2023 is also the only non-fiction book that I read this year. But I read, again, for my mom and I's book club, we read The Killers of the Flower Moon. You might have heard about this. It just came out in a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. This was a really good book. Usually I'm not really into nonfiction, but this one, it reads like a mystery, like a good mystery novel. It was really gripping and I do want to watch the movie eventually. I think it's on Amazon Prime right now. But yeah. Oh. Hello. Hi. And then for the 7 graphic novels that I read this year, I read the first 4 books in the Heartstopper series. This is like a YA story about these 2 boys, friends to lovers. It's really cute. They're really fast reads because they are graphic novels. The story is very heartwarming. I read the first 3 books in the Lore Olympus series. This one was a webtoon that was super popular and it got turned into this book series. So these were also really good. I love Greek mythology retellings, especially when it's in like modern day. where they're like using cell phones and social media and everything. So it's mainly following Persephone and Hades, and then there's like side characters of like Eros and Artemis and Athena. So these are really good as well. Okay, well, that was all the books that I read in 2023. In 2024, some of my reading goals will be to read 75 books. I think if I like consistently read, hey, no, don't eat my books. Okay. I think if I consistently read every month, 75 books will be like no problem. I want to read more nonfiction because I do want to like expand my genres a little bit. So my goal is to read 5 nonfiction books in 2024, which doesn't seem like a lot, but this year I only read 1, so that's like a 500% increase. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you read any books in 2023. What were your favorites? What were some of your non-favorites? If you have any goals for 2024, let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.